Howdy guys, it's Joe here, and if you looked at the PTR and you saw those Lucio buffs, you might be like me, thinking this character is going to be so strong and so good, especially in esports. But on the other hand, you might be like a lot of the community that's thinking that it's going to make him really bad. It feels kind of split right now. Today I want to talk though about what I feel about the updates, of course the updates themselves, and just kind of going on from there about the brand new Lucio updates that are in the PTR. Now of course, as always, the PTR may not come to live, we don't know exactly, but it's just nice to talk about these things and talk about the meta and just kind of go from there. Anyways, with all that said, let's get started. Now, the first thing that they did was that they made so that Lucio's automatic healing and automatic speed range was reduced from 30 all the way down to 10, and that is in meters. So when you think about that, you're like, that isn't too much, 1/3, but I bet that's still pretty far. It's actually really quite close. You have to be very clumped up with your teammates, and that's where a lot of his new negatives come from. So just do keep that in mind. Otherwise as well, not really big, but a nerf that he did get was the fact that his ult range was decreased by 10 meters. It used to be 30, now it's 20, I think. That's, bad. I don't think that'll change it much, but, that's, I guess, a bad thing about it. And that's just some of the buffs and some of the things that a lot of people are thinking is probably a little bit broken about the character. First off, and this is the least one, they made so that Lucio's damage is a little bit easier to hit. They made so that it shot a little bit faster. So now headshots and getting headshots and shooting people might be a tiny bit more doable. So you might be able to get a few more kills. As well with this, now you can right-click bashing off the cliff in sentry mode, so I guess that's pretty cool too. Other than that, of course, we also have the fact that now Lucio is much faster while riding on the walls. I don't think that they changed his speed boost at all, with his E, but as far as when he's on the walls, he now gets a 30% boost on the walls, and when he jumps off of the wall, he gets an even more boost and just kind of flies all over the place. This is so hard to deal with. But there are some negatives about this, mainly for the fact that now it's kind of hard to stick with your team, and when you kind of put 2 and 2 together, you can see how that might be a problem, as with your less range, you want to be with your team, so kind of keep with that. Even though it will probably be good because now you can get closer, so now you can get your damage out better. It kind of goes all around like that. As far as other stuff about this though, it's also very easy for Lucio to get right back into the fight now. It takes him about like 5 seconds on Eichenwald once he revives in order to get back on the point by himself, so that's really fast. That's like as fast as a freaking teleporter. So yeah, he might be really good in that sense. Waiting on the walls and being so much faster, that might be something that kind of just breaks the character. As well with that, he's going to be very hard to kill. A lot of people already did have problems with killing wall riding Lucios if they were really good at the character, but now especially flankers, you're going to have a huge trouble trying to kill this guy. He's flying all over the place, he's healing more, he's doing all these other things. It's going to be really difficult. Continuing from there, his healing was also increased by 50%. Well, yeah, just keep that in, and of course that also does apply to his Amp It Up. Holy god, so good. That is a really nice update for the character. It will probably make him a lot better with tanks, of course. He always had a big problem with that, but it might not be as good with other flankers and people that were a little bit further away, such as you have less range. When you have less range, it'll be kind of hard to heal those guys. When they do get in range, though, you're going to be healing a lot faster, so that'll probably be that. And it'll also make so that his healing is a lot more usable, and so that you don't always have to use speed boost, so that's pretty cool. And then finally, they made so that you can actually seal the radius of your healing, so that's a pretty cool thing as well. Overall, though, as far as these updates go, I'm going to say that he does sound a lot better in esports, at least in my own opinion. For the majority of the time, esports Lucios were really well played. They were really well positioned, and they could also be next to their team while being really safe on walls and just kind of walking all over the place. So I feel like they're still going to do good and probably do even better. We might see even more Lucios than we already saw, which might be impossible. I don't know. But at the same time, I think like in comp and in all of our games, he's going to be much worse. A lot of people picked Lucio because he was easy, because you didn't have to do as much, and he's just one of those guys that you tell your team to go because you didn't have enough supports, and a lot of people were okay with going Lucio. But now if you have someone that does that, I think you're going to be in real big trouble. He's just harder to play. He has to be more accurate, he has to play a lot better, he has to use his new mobility, use his damage, he really has to play a lot better. So what I'm saying is that he's probably going to be a lot better in a really good person's hands, and Lucio's probably going to be able to carry a lot more, but at the same time, of course, when he's with people that he's not really used to, or if the player of Lucio's just not all too great, like in most comp games, you're probably going to have a huge problem on your hands, so I feel like that'll kind of skew the opinion of the community just through that. Next, I'm also going to say that he's going to be way too safe with speed. I'm not exactly sure yet. I've been playing quite a bit, though, and he feels really like unkillable in a lot of situations with his speed. Especially if you're playing versus a projectile character, it can be really hard to just hit this guy. Just because, you know, he's so fast, he just bolts all over the place, so it can be kind of a problem. As well with this, it does also make so that with all this speed, he's much harder for flankers to kill, which is a problem, as people like Genji, people like Tracer are, and especially Sombra, they already had a really big problem trying to kill Lucio. But now it'll be even harder. Lucio heals himself more, a lot more, 50% more, and as well, he runs around a lot faster. I feel like he's really just gonna like 100% counter the flankers. There's not much they can do without their ultimates versus Lucio now. Especially if he's just riding up high on the walls, it'll be a big problem for these characters. So I can't say exactly how this is going to go so far. Maybe people will find counterplay, of course that always does show up. But for the average player, I say that's going to be a problem that a lot of people just have to kind of figure out through and just kind of go through. It might, on the other hand, not be as hard as I'm thinking, though, because Lucio will probably want to stay next to his team, and his extra speed might not be as useful as I'm thinking because he wants to stay next to his team with that extra speed, so he kind of has to jump off the wall, wait for his team, just kind of continue from there, so, you know, he might stay next to his team more, so you have more of a chance to kill him because he's next to his team, but when he's next to his team, of course his team can help him out a lot more. It really just kind of depends on what the exact situation is, but overall I feel like he's going to be a pretty hard thing to kill. In the end, though, I could see this update either making Lucio extremely broken, depending on how it does work in-game, or on the other hand, if people don't know how to adapt to this, or if simply put, it doesn't really work in Overwatch, like quite a few updates do, I'd say that they might revert this update. I'm kind of liking what they're doing. It does make sense, you know, try to make Lucio a bit more close range, a bit more really big updates, big pushes with your team, while not being able to, you know, just kind of heal your whole team at the same time. But at the same time, we might just see some problems. And as well, one thing that doesn't really make that much sense is the fact that when you're on the wall, you have so much speed, but your teammates don't get that speed, so you're going to get way too far ahead of them, so you're going to have to go back to your teammates. A lot of stuff just doesn't quite make the most sense, mainly that thing. Overall, though, I think I'm happy with this update. I was a person that did like going Lucio. I liked other supports more, so I wasn't the best Lucio in the world, but I still enjoyed him, so hopefully this will make him even more enjoyable, and I think that's the thing that this will mainly do. It seems like an update that'll make him a lot more fun to play and a lot less basic of a character. Let's just hope that doesn't make him extremely broken, and on the other hand, let's just hope that doesn't make him completely terrible. We just kind of have to wait for that. Anyways, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you did enjoy the video. Sorry for saying really so much. That's just kind of happened in some videos. I can't exactly say why, but I'll try my best to not do that in the next one. As always, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below if you want me to talk about any more future updates. You know, I kind of talk about the main big ones that I like to talk about. As always, though, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be seeing you next time. And as always, have a wonderful day.